Alright, so I'm having a problem here in Microchip Studio with Visual Micro installed. I have a debugWire session going here with my ATmega 328PB, and I want to recompile the project and restart the debug session. If there's only two ways to do that that I know of, on other chips anyways, you would press stop debugging and then you would start the debug session again. I think another option is you could use this disable debugWire and close. So if I just try stop debugging, I'll show you what happens when I try to relaunch the debug session. Just compile. It says it's able to communicate properly, however, it fails to enter programming mode. If I just attach again using debugWire, which is still enabled, and select disable debugWire and close, then I can actually get the debug session to initialize. However, at this point, debugWire peripheral is not active. So when it tries to launch the debug session, I get this message telling me that it needs to use the SPI peripheral to program the debugWire enable fuse. Now I need to actually power cycle the board. This is what I'm trying to avoid. I don't want to have to power cycle the board in order to reinitiate the debug session with a new firmware image. So that is the only way I know of. And now look what's happening. It says it's writing here in the corner. So debugWire is enabled. I power cycled the board, and now it's writing the firmware image again using debugWire. So I know that it can do the upload using debugWire. So hence, the question becomes, how can I recompile and basically get the debug session restarted without having to power cycle? Now typically, if you step here, it will say, do you want to restart? Because I've made a change. So if I click restart and recompile, let's see what happens. So it has that same error I showed before. So debugWire is still enabled, and it's trying to upload it using SPI instead of using debugWire. So I suppose the question is, can the uploader be debugWire?